live from Harbor Station, it's the Vector Spaceman Show. Now here's your host, Vector Spaceman!
Hello, Space Cadets! Oh my goodness gracious, it's been forever! How's everybody doing? How's everybody tonight? Let me zip on out here. Woo! There we go. Hello, Space Cadets. It's your old pal, Vector Spaceman. We're back at it again, and we're coming to you live, straight from Harbor Station, broadcasting on all frequencies to our beautiful planet Earth and, of course, our beautiful Space Cadets. Now, whether you're watching us live or maybe you're catching us after the show, don't you know, we're glad to have you on board with us tonight. Thanks for helping us make outer space and keep outer space the place to be on tonight, Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. After nearly a month of stream absence, the Spaceman returns with something really cool, really neat, really special to show off and share tonight. Wow, right? Big wows. Can we get some wows in the chat? I'm wowed. Are you feeling wowed? I'm feeling pretty wowed right now. Welcome back, Space Cadets, and if you're just tuning in for the very first time, welcome aboard. This is the Vector Spaceman Show, and I am, of course, your host, the Vector Spaceman. Your host for myriad marvels and assorted good times. It's the rare and mythical art stream tonight. I've always said we want to make this the year of Spaceman 3D, so what better way to hone our skills than by doing some practice models in our spare time, as well as right here on stream. Emotional? Are we feeling emotional? Are we feeling worked up? Are we feeling jazzed up? Are we feeling geared up? Are we feeling motivated? Energized? What's good, fish? How are you doing tonight? Follow along with us, fish. Follow along with us tonight as we continue to work on a little project that we got started just a few days ago. And imagine all of the possibilities, the wondrous possibilities, the endless potential that could be in store for us. Now, if you missed the last show, hey, I don't blame you. It's been a minute, but I'm happy to report, Space Cadets, that in our final stream of January, we managed to finish up our playthrough of Tactical Breach Wizards, saving the planet with cash money spells and tactical defenestration. We even 100%ed the game, completed all the Steam Chivos in the downtime since, another title for the board. We also found time to do a little karaoke stream this past weekend. Those, of course, you won't find archived, you just gotta tune in live to experience the spacey tones of a singing spaceman. We might find time for another karaoke stream this coming weekend if we're lucky. No promises right now, but it's a possibility. We got plenty of song requests to fulfill still, and we're always just pleased as punch to get the chance to chill with the Space Cadets and to stretch our vocal cords. But of course, if you want to catch karaoke streams and all sorts of other special broadcasts as they happen, then you gotta stay up to date so that you never ever miss a show. Stay tuned in, be sure to follow Vector Spaceman on Twitter, YouTube, Blue Sky, and of course, right here on Twitch. Now, Space Cadets. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. You know, we appreciate it. It's the year of Spaceman 3D. That's what I said last year, and that's what I'm saying this year. But eventually, one of these years we gotta commit to that idea and follow through with it. You know what I mean? And so that's what we're trying to do. The issue, of course, and the reason why, we don't see a whole lot of updates even for, our live 2D model, even though we can do it, Spaceman tends to be quite a perfectionist. So if we do something, we want to make sure it's really good, really near perfect. You know what I mean? And so, of course, this can cause issues. Commitment issues, exactly. Mana's got the right idea. Also, thanks again for the raid, Mana. Thanks for everybody who's tuning in with Mana, and thanks for everybody who's tuning in, hanging in the wings. We see you, we appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Be perceived, be loved, be appreciated. Thanks for showing out, Space Cadets, because we got something real cool for you tonight. So, rather than jump headfirst into doing a 3D Spaceman, we wanted to start doing some practice models first. Get more familiar with Blender, because we never learned to do 3D with Blender. We learned to do 3D with Autodesk's 3ds Max. But Blender is the tool du jour, as it were. That's the software of the day. Software of the year over here. It's free to use. There's so many tutorials for it. Everybody likes Blender, even though it's got like, some funky keybinds. Friend of the show, Regal Mikado of the Nova Swarm, who, by the way, guys, let me keep reminding you that Rig is getting to show off his brand new model this Friday. The Nova Swarm is starting their rebrand with Rig's model this Friday, so definitely be sure to tune in for that. I'm going to do a shout out. Big shout out for the Nova Swarm. Friends of the show, constant collaborators. Bam, make sure you check them out. I'd give Mana a shout out as well, but it seems like Mana doesn't do a whole lot of Twitch stuff. You guys know Mana already anyways, because you came here with the raid. Hey Perky, how are you doing? Our latest and greatest space cadet. Thanks for tuning in. How you doing? You know we know you know us. You know that we know that you know that this is the Vector Spaceman show. Thanks for being here. We got something pretty cool tonight. So I was just saying, it's the year of 3D Spaceman. We want to do our first 3D model, or our first 3D Spaceman model, rather. But we're not diving head first right into doing the Spaceman himself. We wanted to start with some practice models first. And I thought, what better way to, get some good practice, but also stay invested in the models that we're doing, than by making 3D models of friends of the show. It's Spaceman and Friends, after all. Perky saying, I'm so angry to discover I wasn't following here. WTF, it happens. We understand. These things happen. I'm sure that there are people that we've had, on the show before, in the specials, that sort of thing, that we've neglected to follow in the past. This happens. This is understandable. Oh, speaking of specials and stuff, so because we took close to a month off from the end of January to now, this is our first stream back. We did a karaoke stream last week, but this is our first archived stream back. We didn't get to show off our latest Spaceman and Friends skit. Did you guys know that we had a Valentine's Day skit? First of all, I hope you all had a great Valentine's Day. I hope it was full of love, or at the very least, discount chocolate, whatever's going on in your life. We hope you made the most of it. But did you guys know that we had a Spaceman and Friends Valentine's Day skit? And that it was very funny and very well received? Discount Chocolate Day, that's right, Fish. But since we didn't get to show that off at any point on stream, do you guys want to watch that real quick? It's a pretty good one. I think it's a pretty funny one. And it stars a lot of people that you probably recognize if you've been around the show for a minute. What do you say, Fish? Yeah, Fish wants to see? Let's give it a gander then. All right, before we get into some intense artistry tonight, we're gonna show off that little skit. So let me make sure that I've got the video set up. Let me see here. Special video. Special video, okay, it's pointing to the right file. We use the same scene for showing all the different specials. So I just gotta make sure that it's got the right video pointed to it. All right, check this out, guys. Check this out, you guys. It's the Valentine's Day skit. This will just take a few minutes. I hope you enjoy. Check it out. Starring Spaceman and friends of the show. Let's take a gander real quick.
All right, fine. What?
Oh, hi, Palm. I didn't see you there.
Ugh.
Well, you know, it's another year, another Valentine's Day, and here I am, again, spending it alone, with nobody, by myself, solo, single, all alone.
Yeah, no, that's rough, fam. You know what they say, though. There's plenty of fish in the sea or space. Someone out there for everyone. You just gotta have confidence, you know? What else?
Hey, Palm. Ready to head out?
Oh, thank God, yes.
Hey there, Vector. What's got you down?
No, don't engage.
Aw, hi, girls. Happy Valentine's Day. I was just thinking about how I got nobody to spend the day with.
Well, how come? You're a funny little orange guy. It can't be too hard to find yourself a Vector space gal.
You'd be surprised. Turns out there's not a whole lot of people in space, and even fewer girls. Plus, I don't know if you ever noticed, but it seems like all the girls who hang around the station are either dating, or married, or secretly married, or gay.
Yeah, there's not a point.
There's some logic
got
behind
a
that
point.
sentiment.
Yeah.
I can agree.
No, I agree.
Well, hold on. I'm not gay.
For real? Well then, Palm, what do you say that you and I...
No.
You see what I mean? It's getting hard out here for a spaceman.
Maybe you could try online dating. Lots of people meet online these days.
Nah, I've tried that too. But no matter what I do, it seems like girls just aren't into old spaceman.
Give me that. All right, let's see here. This says you're 24?
I'm young at heart.
And in what world are you 6'2"?
That's in dog feet.
You're not a doctor.
Unlicensed.
You don't have a 7-figure salary.
We're getting paid in rubles now.
And I'm pretty sure you weren't a member of Organized Rhyme.
Alright, fine, you got me there. But I just wanted girls to think that I was cool and exciting.
You don't have to lie to get girls to like you, Spaceman. Just be yourself. Or at least be normal.
I try, but it seems like anytime I get a match, they stop responding as soon as I say hello.
What have you been texting them?
Just regular stuff.
Uh-huh. Here, pretend I'm a girl you just matched with. Show us what you normally do.
Vector!
Oh, was that wrong?
All right, first of all, that's just gross. And secondly, that's not even your own penis.
You don't know that.
It's the wrong color.
Oh. Well, it was the biggest one I could find.
Vector! What makes you think anyone would want to see that?
I thought that's what you're supposed to do. As a high-value space male, it's important that I demonstrate worth and virility right off the jump.
A high value. Have you been listening to podcasts?
Even better, I've got my own personal guru, an expert in the weird and wondrous ways of women.
Nobody you know should be giving advice on women.
Sounds like you're getting scammed, Spaceman. How much are you paying for this?
Oh, I'm not paying. It's all pro bono. Her advice is free of charge, all in the service of making me into the alpha spaceman I was born to be.
And yet, somehow, it still feels like you're getting ripped off. But seriously, why would anyone go out of their way to... Wait a minute. Did you say her? God damn you, Neff.
All right, why this time?
Have you been teaching Vector how to talk to girls?
Yes.
Why would you give him such terrible advice?
Well, see, I like to think of it as humanitarianism, a service for all womankind. By keeping a loser like Vector Spaceman locked out of the dating pool, it leaves more room for quality candidates, like me. Or me. But mostly me.
So sabotage, then.
Hello? We're in space, Palm. There's barely any girls here to begin with. I gotta take every advantage I can get. Plus, I don't know if you ever noticed, but it seems like all the girls who hang around the station are either dating, or married, or secretly married, or me.
No, that is true.
She's got
Yeah,
a point.
that's
Actually,
no, I agree.
That's
That's
true.
true.
I can say so myself.
Well, hold on. I'm not dating.
For real? Well then, Palm, what do you say that you and I...
No.
Man!
Space girl, the only way that we'd end was if you were sucked into a black hole. But I'd still spend my days dreaming about you. Dreaming about you.
Wasn't that fun? Isn't that a fun skit? That was the Valentine's Day skit. Yeah, I agree, Perky. That's a, like... Part of the thing I've liked about doing the Spaceman and Friends skits and specials is that we kind of just have to, and we kind of just get to, like, throw out everyone's established lore and make it much more mundane. It all becomes about the characters themselves instead of, you know, their backstories and their own settings and stuff like that. It's like, hey, real life Palm and Vector can hang out every once in a while, so why can't their characters hang out and stuff like that? You know, nobody's, you know, the Nova Swarm in the specials, they're not fighting mushroom monsters and stuff like that. They're hanging out at the station. They're getting into shenanigans, that sort of thing. And every once in a while we get to throw in little tidbits, like we've had Neff's space station in the background of some shots and things like that. Yes, it is the Seinfeldification of the characters, yes. It's a skit about nothing. It's a special about nothing. The term I've always used to describe what we get up to is that it's always aggressively low stakes. And that's the way we like it, and that's the way we try to keep it. But yeah, that skit is probably like one of the tightest, funniest, like just straight up joke-filled skits that we've done. Like barely a wasted line in there. It was really, really good. I'm super proud of that one. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as well. And I hope you had a fine Valentine's Day as well. Doing whatever yous was doing. Also, hello, Rig. Remember, guys, this is the rig I was just telling you about. Rig's got a brand new model showcasing this Friday. The first of the rebranded Nova Swarm characters. It's true. It's super true. So make sure you tune into the Nova Swarm channel this Friday at sometime in the afternoon, evening, when they're going to be showing off Rig's new model, and presumably also some lore, and Rig's gonna play some Monster Hunter. 6 p.m. PST, there you go. Which means 9 p.m. for people in a real time zone. So for the rest of us, that's when we get to tune in. Saturday TBD, so it might also be some Saturday stuff. Fun, very fun. I can't wait because I've got no plans Friday, so I'm gonna be tuned in. Yeah. Thanks for showing up tonight, Rig. This is very fortuitous because, as you guys know, like I've been saying before we were showing off the skit, we're going to be doing some Blender stuff tonight. And Rig knows a thing or two about Blender, which is great. So maybe we'll get some tips and tricks from a real pro, you know? Saw the Blue Sky post about Blender stuff, so I'm here. It's like a bat signal, but for 3D modelers. So here's the deets. Here's the lowdown. As we explained earlier, and as we're going to repeat right now, it's the year of 3D Spaceman. Conceptually, ideally, we would love to get a 3D Spaceman model done, but we don't want to dive headfirst into things because we tend to be a perfectionist. We're going to overthink things. We want to do some practice models first. And I thought the best way to stay motivated and stay interested in some of these practice models that we're doing would be to make models of friends of the show. So that's something that I started working on a couple days ago just in my own time. And then I was thinking like, hey, this is looking pretty good. Maybe we'll continue it on stream. So I reached out to the person I was modeling at the time. They were cool with it. And so we're going to be continuing that model on stream tonight, making some changes, making some improvements, and talking about sort of the idea behind what we're doing here. So that's the lowdown, that's the gist. And that's what we're going to be getting up to, you guys. So I'd like to invite everybody to grab drinks, snacks, chill out, cool out, kick back, relax, chillax, max and all cool, shoot some b-ball outside of the school. And Spaceman's going to do some art stuff tonight, and you're going to get to witness that. Blender is kind of fun. It looks kind of fun. It is kind of fun. It's got some funky keybinds, and I think Rig was telling me that it was either Rig or Alpine who was telling me that the reason that it's got like some wonky keybinds is because it's made by a French studio or something like that. The developers are French, so the hotkeys are like mapped to what you would expect for the French language. I believe it was one of them who was telling me that. Oh, maybe Swiss? Oh man, in Swiss, they've got their own funky form of French. Can you customize the keybinds? Yeah, you probably can, but I figure it's probably best to just learn to use Blender as it was intended, It's been a big jump, because like I said, I learned to do 3D on 3ds Max years ago, before any of these newfangled like modifiers and sculpting tools. Like you had to get like a sketchy copy of ZBrush if you wanted to do stuff like that. Might need to try messing with it someday. Well, here's the thing, Fish. It's 100% free, and that's kind of the big draw. That's why everybody loves Blender. It's free. There's so many tutorials and stuff for it because it's free. It's integrated into so many like free to use game dev suites like Unity and Godot and stuff like that because it's free again. Oh, Rig's saying turns out Blender is Dutch. That is weird. That is weird. Tulips and polders and bicycles and Blender. How do you like that? Gotta start with the donut? Yeah, donut's a good place to start. We actually did the donut tutorial at a point last year on stream. And it went alright. It's a good way of teaching you like a few basic tools, like teaches you how to, like make a cylinder, make a torus, bevel it out, put some modifiers on it, use displacement modifiers and stuff like that. Not the donut, that cursed donut. Nah, we're pro donut around here. Alright, you guys want to see what we've been working on though? So check this out. We're gonna head over to the big screen and we're gonna show off what we've been working on the past couple of days. Let's do this. Sword tutorial? I didn't even know there was a sword tutorial. That might be a good place to start too. Sword tutorial probably be more fun, because you'll start thinking like, oh, how can I customize my sword? You'll want to like, give it a whole bunch of different like greebly little bits and details and what have you. Yeah, try the sword tutorial then, Fish. That sounds like fun. All right. Gaze upon what Spaceman's been working on. We're gonna put on our rarely used tablet hands. There we go, because we're doing some artwork tonight. And we're gonna head on over to the big screen. Let's go. Bam! Here we are, the Blender 3D screen for the Blender 3D stream. Super duper. And let's open up the file we've been working on. So for those of you who were just here for the Valentine's Day skit, this character might seem a little familiar. Wow! Do you guys know who that is? Do you guys know who that is? It's the GalaxyJamwich. It's our friend Jammy. Is it Vector? No, that's the GalaxyJamwich, you guys. In all her jammy glory. You thought it was her from the blue sky thumbnail? Yo, what's up, Alpine? How you doing? Alpine, do you know that Blender is made by Dutchmen? We're learning all sorts of fun things tonight. Yeah, the thumbnail was kind of a giveaway. Nobody's really got a silhouette like Jammy. But anyways, this is what we've been working on. We've been wanting to do 3D modeling, character work, so we can make a 3D spaceman. But I thought, okay, a good way to start would be to do friends of the show, because we can stay motivated, we can stay interested with it, without, you know, getting into that, what do you call it, like perfectionist state where, oh, it's not good enough, that sort of thing. Yeah, Blender Spaceman. Guys, make sure you're checking out, talk about a Blender aficionado. Make sure you're checking out Alpine's work. Let's do a little shout out for Alpine, who has been working oh so diligently on the Alpine Showtime imaginary suite of characters. Jammy's good practice, very fun, simple shapes. Exactly, something very friend-shaped. So as you can see, we've got, here, let's break it down. Break it down into parts here. You've got the basic sandwich shape with all the different, you know, jam blobules along the center ridge line. Now, I haven't modeled a jammy mouth yet because I'm not sure. Here's the thing, this model is going to be multi-purpose. Jammy has no mouth, and Jammy must stream. We've got little contours of jam, body and what have you, but we've got our little jammy eyes. We just don't have a little jammy mouth yet. 'Cause here's the thing, I'm thinking, this model will ultimately serve a couple of different purposes. I would like to make a jammy model that can be used for like animating or for little game stuff. I would also like to make a jammy model that we can use for 3D printing, because I think this would be I think jammy makes a great test bed for a lot of stuff, including making our own 3D prints. Now that we have that resin printer, I want to try doing some custom stuff. I would love to try using some transparent resin, and Jammy's helmet makes a great test for that. So I've been having to think, okay, how are we going to, you know, slice this up basically, because the helmet itself presents a pretty big issue. You can do mini painting streams too? Yeah, that'd be great, right? Because Jammy's head, you can't like print a cavity. And Jammy's whole body, like let's take a look at how close this looks to our reference image. Like this is spot on GalaxyJamwich when you really think about it. We're missing her little jam tail. We'll probably model that once we get a pose that we like. You can print the dome in two halves. Yeah, so here's basically how I've got it. Is that you're gonna have to have some sort of seam. Basically, you're gonna have to cut it along this axis here, right? Which is good, because that means that basically where the helmet connects here, we will probably have like a little divot like that, which will connect to 2 pieces. It'll be like a press fit sort of thing, is the idea. You follow me? Oh, go get some food, Fish. Go get some food. We're just gonna be talking models, making some changes, doing some rigging perhaps. Just having fun and fooling around. Talking art and sandwiches. Thanks for being here, Fish. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And if you make it back, we'll see you then. So that's the idea for the helmet. Basically split it right down the middle and then find places where we can press fit the entire model together. We can press fit it here. You know, basically we'll have like plugs and pins that fit together to get the 2 halves of the jam suit together, which will then compress the helmet halves themselves, hold them together. But I'm also thinking that we can probably have so the helmet comes in like that. We can probably also have jutouts on either side that these antenna earpieces connect to. So basically you'll have probably like little semicircles like that on either side, and then again press fit those together. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good points of pressure holding the whole helmet together. You'll just have a little looseness along the top here, but hopefully that won't be a huge issue. But that's sort of where I've landed on how would this all fit together if we were to 3D print it out. Then you've got the jam itself. Could either print this all in one piece, or what is more likely, I'd kind of like to experiment with a semi-transparent colored resin for the jam itself. Because when we look at Jammy's reference, let's look at just the reference. Can we look at just the reference? Maybe not. Jammy. You can see the jam itself is like, it's got little globules in it, little bits, little sparkles, that sort of thing. I've seen some cool videos of people printing colored resin using like mica powder, so you get little shimmery effects and stuff in it. So if we wanted to do something like that, then, oh geez. Turn off the backup ones. Turn off the jam plane, there we go. So if we wanted to do that, then again, we need some sort of way for this to press fit. So basically the jam globule, I outlined it here so you can see it better, would probably be printed with a couple of plugs so that then the 2 bread pieces could squish together. So it would come in 3 pieces. Middle jam, which is a translucent piece, and then the 2 bread pieces, which sort of fit around it. That could work, though for the antenna, I'd opt for a square-shaped plug since small resin bits, like semicircles, can get brittle after curing. Made that mistake a few times. Okay. Yeah, that's the other thing, is that it's coming together in my mind like a Kinder Surprise toy, basically, where it's like a few different pieces that just sort of press together. But here's the thing. Perfect analogy, yeah. Like, you get exactly what I mean with that, right? Yeah. But those are plastic, not resin. And plastic is, as the name implies, a little more plasticky. It's got a little more give to it. Resin is pretty stiff, is pretty brittle. Now, when I was printing those cones of calibration and the little lizard man that accompanies it, doing my little calibration tests, on the resin printer, there's a few pieces that are supposed to like fit together pretty snug. And they do. And so we know that the resin can compress a little bit, but probably not as well as like an injection molded plastic. So we'll have to see whether this idea works in the long run. If not, then if it's not going to be press fit, it could still be, like those plugs and stuff would still be great spaces for hiding like a super glue or whatever sort of adhesive that you'd have to use to keep these pieces together. So the idea will probably be pretty similar in the long run anyways. I don't know if I'd like the square plugs on the ears. Maybe I would just do circular plugs again, like whole circular plugs. So instead of those, instead of like the like little C's that I was thinking of, it might just be like big fat semicircles. Just because I know you will see it from the side. So we'd like to have it follow the shape of the ear itself. That could also work. That could also work. It's just about minimizing stress, right? So anywho, that's the jammy as it is right now. Now, like I said, when I learned how to do 3D modeling, we didn't have sculpting tools. We didn't have, you know, all these fancy modifiers and what have you. So you look at the jammy right now, and let's just take off the suit. I'll just show you the jam model again. The jam itself, like all these pieces are loaded up with like subdividers and what have you to make it look nice and smooth and what have you. But like I said, because this is going to be a multi-purpose model, we've kept the underlying sandwich pretty low resolution. So that if we were to put it into like a game, say, something like that, then maybe we, you know, just do one level of subdivision. And then, you know, that's a pretty good, from a distance, that looks pretty good. But if we were going to do the 3D printing, then we might bump that up to like a level 4 subdivider, and then it's super smooth and that'll print real well. But because we were taught, because Spaceman was taught back in the day how to do 3D stuff, it has allowed me to keep everything like real nice topographically. So we're not using any of that sculpting stuff. We're doing it mostly by shape, keeping all our contours nice, because that matters. That matters in the long run. You don't just want to jump into the sculpting suite, which I still, nothing like a solid wireframe, right? Even for the jam. You might think, oh, that's got to be the hardest thing to do, but no, even for the jam, we keep it nice and, well, for the most part, nice and following a nice, consistent, it's got a nice flow to it, you know? Anywho, I'm just proud of the way that it turned out. So what are we going to be doing tonight vis-a-vis the Jamwich? So here's the thing. We've got work still to do on the suit itself. These earpieces are not molded. You can see here, they are just flat on this side. They are not molded to the side of the helmet, to the glass. And so that's something that we are going to have to do at a point. I'm also wondering, we gotta add a few more little details to Jammy's like voice box here. If we look at the reference image, got a few little things here, a few little divots. For a 3D model, that would be something that we just use a texture for. Like, we wouldn't bother actually modeling that out. But because we're using this as the base for our multi-purpose model, we're probably going to model those into it as well. Here's a thing I've been thinking of today, though, and it was something it was like one of those shower thoughts that I was having. Because Jammy only appears to us in the skits and specials, like looking at the camera, or slightly, slightly turned, that sort of thing. Oh, Jammy. We don't really know like what's going on the backside of Jammy's little spacesuit here. So there's a few things we got to consider. First of all, are we going to hollow out this inside area here and like fill it up with something? Or are we just going to cut it straight down and around the contour of Jammy once we get a nice pose? That'll probably be what we do for the 3D printed model idea, but I don't know, like there's potential here where maybe we hollow it out a little bit, and then what could we put down in there? Some sort of sciencey, spacey stuff? Like, it's just Jammy's bread that's up in there. There's not a whole lot going on. But the backside, and this is what got me thinking, when we see Jammy in the specials and the skits, Jammy is always floating. More vents or like cushioning or something like that. But Jammy is always floating in the skits and specials, which is a quality that we also used to give to Vector. But even as early as the second special, like that first Halloween special that we did, Vector stopped floating in any scenes which took place on Earth. So it was just space that Vector floated around in, and within a couple skits and specials after that, we started using, like originally it was just to keep Vector at eye level of the other characters, but eventually we found it funnier if Vector just stays short. So Vector started walking around the station instead of floating around, but Jammy has always stayed floating. And so that got me thinking, well, could we spice up the backside of Jammy's suit with like some sort of like little rockets or something like that, some sort of little like Jetson style, like boop 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 boop, something like that sort of explains why Jammy floats all the time, whereas the other characters don't. We could take some creative liberty there. Know what I mean? Some little rocket exhaust, something like that, which might also be good for when we decide to do the 3D print. I was thinking, all right, how are we going to base Jammy on a 3D print? It's either going to be by extending the little jam blobule out here into some sort of jammy base. Or if we've got those vents on the back, then we could do like a big whoosh. Whoosh. Something like that, you know what I mean? Like a little exhaust keeping Jammy up in the air or something like that. So we'd have a couple of options there. The other thing that we're going to have to do, and we made mention of this earlier, what are we going to do about the mouth? Because Jammy's mouth is just like a little, bam, right there. Happy, happy sandwich, you know what I mean? I think the best thing we could do would be to model that into the bread piece. Which would mean that we would have to... Can I see the bread piece, please? Somewhere like here or here. Start insetting and working it out, and then extruding in to create an actual mouth cavity, and then making it much more complex, and then we could probably work mouth shapes or something like that. I feel like I'd have to do some whole other practice models on making mouths and doing blend shapes and what have you. Propelled by bread exhaust? Yeast? Yeah, that yeast power. The dough rises. That's what they say. The other option would be just to do like a... Like in the same way that we have the eyes, like Jammy's eyes are just, they sort of just sit on top of the model and protrude out. We could also have the mouth do that. Just sort of sit on the model in a fixed shape with a little extruded outline around the actual like the open part. So the black part would extrude a little further, the pink part would be recessed, and then it would look like a little smile, just sitting on the surface of the bread model. That'll be the easiest thing to do, especially for the 3D print. Because again, you don't want to be printing cavities. It's just not functional. You don't want to be putting supports up in there, all up in Jammy's face. Especially not where we don't have to. So yeah, that'll probably be what we do for that. I've watched Alpine do some 3D modeling on their clay characters lately. And Alpine seems to have some sort of process where they'll like draw out shapes and then convert those shapes into loose like 3D thingamajigs. I'm trying to describe that. Like it's almost like using splines or something like that. Or, I don't know, is it the grease pencil? Is that involved somehow? Anyways, I'm gonna have to figure out how Alpine does that, because I like the way that looks. Jammy is not a claymation model, mind you, but I like the way that I've seen Alpine just draw out features. And then sort of... Oh, is it the solidify modifier, I wonder? Drawing out something and then using the solidify modifier. I wonder. I'll do a little investigating later. I'll figure that out. But the big thing that I think we can do tonight is start messing with poses. With rigs. Rig? Can you imagine that? Talking about bones. So I've never done a skeleton, like a character rig in Blender. So it's going to be new for us. But I think I've got the idea here. And it all comes down to something called an armature, which is their word for a collection of bones. So that our sandwich can ambulate and move around, you know? So, let me see if I'm doing this right. We're going to add an armature. And we want to make sure that we can see all the bones involved. Okie dokie. And let's just position this. Let's try working on just the sandwich itself. Can I... Okay. We can scale it. Can we extrude it? Can we select one of the bones itself? Bone. Those are bone groups. That's not what we want to do. Well, we did our best. Let's figure out how this works here. Edit mode. There we go. Whoops. Alright, I don't know the key off the top. It is a sandwich, you're absolutely right. Did you miss my whole spiel, Mana, when I introduced the GalaxyJamwich that everybody knows and loves? It's everybody's favorite talking sandwich. It's the first of our Spaceman and Friends 3D models. And we're just trying to mess around with some bones right now. We're trying to... You don't want to find bones in your sandwich most of the time. However, for the purposes of this stream, we want to fill up our sandwich with bones. Ah, shoot. Ah, shucks. Ah, nuts. Alright, we're just gonna scale these a bit. Oh, that ended up creating a whole new one. Oh, did we have 5 bones to begin with? Maybe we can delete this one then. I want to delete the bone. Please and thank you. There we go. Okay, that makes it a lot easier to scale. Nope, what did I do? Edit mode, please. Oh, I switched shading modes, that's what it was. Try to get it roughly even, because we're just gonna try auto-assigning some weights here. Wouldn't adding bones to Jammy turn her into a ham sandwich? The jam bone, exactly. Le jambon. Pour le français, le francophone. Dans le stream. Whomever those people might be, you know. Oui, oui. Okay, we've got bones in our sandwich. I'm not going to try applying this to the suit right now. I just want to try applying this to the sandwich pieces and seeing how that works. Slander? What do you mean? I'm sorry. Are you or are you not the Frenchest turtle that anyone has ever seen? You know? Question. Question, Your Honor. Let the record show that Mana 26 is the Frenchest turtle that has ever been on this stream, or perhaps any stream. You plead the fifth. That's not even our laws. That's that's American law. Now, where was I? Working on my sandwich. All right, so I'm pretty sure the process here is we have to select the pieces that we want to apply our bones to, because we want to parent these to the armature. So then we select the armature. Then we parent to the armature deformer with automatic weights. And now if we go into pose mode, let's see what happens. It jiggles! Look at that! The sandwich moves! It schmoves! We can make it go woo! Except the eyes aren't tracking because... And that looks great. That folds really well. We could have a sad sandwich. Oh. Except again, the eyes aren't going with it. And the eyes, that is one squished sandwich. Yeah, it looks like a pillow. The way it deforms. It looks like a stuffed character or something like that. But that would be perfect if, for example, when we get to the 3D model, if we wanted to do something like a dynamic, like, twist and back or something like that, as like the exhaust is coming up or something. Like a sandwich shoved into the corner of a lunchbox. Jammy lives in a lunchbox. We all know that. So we would use the bones, follow me here, to get whatever pose we want. You can see there's a little deformation in these pieces. But if we then up the subdivider level to something atrocious. Uh-oh. Not responding. I think I froze it. Is stream gonna crash? Oh, man. Okay. 8 was too many. Oh, who lives in a lunchbox way up in space? GalaxyJamwich. Riggs got the right idea. Okay. Blender just froze, but it looks like the stream didn't. So we're good. We just chugged along for a minute there. Alright, but we would be able to mitigate... Oh, maybe it's a smooth by angle. If we up this to like 60 degrees. No. We're just getting some weird... And it's like following the shape of the... But I'm sure we'd be able to set the position, apply the subdividers, and smooth it out. It should be fine. It should be fine for the eventual 3D purposes. Claps, hey Kieran, how are you? Do you like our sandwich? Uh-oh. I'm freezing because I undid. And undid is setting it back to 8 levels of subdividers. Okay, it looks like we got past it. There we go. I'm just putting Jammy back into her regular position. Thanks for the stretch. Too intense, man. Way too intense. Okay. Let's just save this because I don't hate this. I gotta stretch my old back? What do you mean? What do you mean? Karen says, I'm ready to be unalive. The sickness is kicking my butt. Man. I don't know why you people are so insistent on getting sick all the time. Just be like Spaceman. Never get sick. Always be healthy. Live up in space. Avoid disease by simply avoiding people. But what's up, Karen? We are working on everybody's favorite sandwich, the GalaxyJamwich. Our little 3D jammy. First time you leave your apartment and touch grass, that's what you get. That's what happens. Told you it was dangerous. Yeah, it's dangerous to go alone. It's dangerous to go at all, I guess we should say. Wisdom. Also, thanks, Mana, for re-upping on your Space Ace certification. What a G. What a real one. Should've listened. We didn't listen. We didn't listen. Kieran didn't listen. Okay, so as we can see, the jammy can rotate inside the helmet. That's good. The suit itself, I don't think we're gonna deform because it should stay pretty stiff. It is a suit after all. We can see a perfect jammy, except it's not really perfect because the eyes aren't moving. And why is that, Spaceman? Let's think this through. The eyes aren't moving with the rest of the body because they are not actually joined to the front bread piece. They are their own distinct piece under the features category. And because we did not parent those to the armature, that is why they are not moving. So if we go back into object mode and we parent those to the armature like we did everything else, why did they pop out like that? They popped out like that. Undo. Because they were already parented to the bread piece, the front bread piece. So if you remove that, so the whole thing had been moved at some point. Do they have transformation? So they had been parented to the bread piece and they got moved at some point. So that's why. So we're just gonna drag it back to where they was, basically. That looks about right. That looks like jammy eyes if I ever saw them. Those lifeless, jam-filled eyes. And so now, if and we parent the eyes to the armature, our bone group, with auto weights, go back into edit mode. Now, whoops. Into pose mode, there we go. Now the eyes move as well. Wow! It's a happy little jammy. Oh no! It looks like Jammy just got concussed inside of the suit, like she just got her jam brain rattled. Oh man, which is actually a very funny look. So we don't have to just do rotations. We could also, like, can't we? That's just giving me... Jammy's having a stroke. She's melting. This is just giving me movements drooping to one side. I know, right? She's got some kind of jam palsy. Now, this is just limiting me to rotation. Is there any way... Inverse kinematics, here we go. How would one go about making it so that I can just move the bone anywhere and it'll IK its way into position? Because right now if I hit G, it's just giving me rotate. Maybe Rig or Alpine or somebody knowledgeable knows off the top of their head. Otherwise, that'll be something we'll have to figure out in the future as well, because I really like the idea of, like, squashing Jammy. We can scale. That's interesting. Mew. And everything scales the way you would expect it to. Probably need to set up an IK constraint. Make Jammy go cross-eyed. Pew, pew. Oh, so that's the base, so it brings everything down. Wow. Sandwich. Big brain jammy? Oh my god. It's the Mega Jam. So this is just all automatic weighted. In the end, we will, you know, go more deliberate weight painting. On these models. Because I would love to have bones that control like the different jam globules, like this one here, that sort of thing. Especially the one down at the bottom. Because then we can start to simulate like her jam bits like sloshing around like with physics and what have you. If you really want to play with the eyes, you can easily add in more bones and weight groups. Yeah. That's the idea. This is just for messing around with, basically with what is our first try at rigging something in Blender. First of all, gotta say, I love how the auto weighting worked. Like that worked really, really well. But if we really want it to look really good, then yeah, we're gonna have to do, you know, vertex painting, weight painting, to get everything precise. And yeah, the eyes, where the mouth goes, and of course, when it comes to the suit itself, we probably won't do much in the way of bones and what have you, because it should be a pretty rigid suit. But maybe we'll do something with like the antenna, make them a little floppy or something like that. Like look at the microphone arm on the Spaceman model. Like when I move around, it bounces a little bit. Like that'd be nice to do with Jammy's antenna or something. Blender's auto weights are the strongest part of skinning? Yeah, I mean, I remember doing custom rigs for characters for bipeds in Halo Custom Edition way back in the day in 3ds Max, because that's what I was learning at the time. And yeah, it was not as straightforward, not as intuitive. This is much easier and much more fun. And because you can, you know, just start posing, because you can just start moving stuff around, it becomes super duper fun. It's like, I want to keep working on this, right? What a joy it is to see Jammy just, you know, schmoovin', moving it, grooving it. Get it, Jammy. Jammy headbang? Absolutely. Oh, no. No. That's the wrong... Oh, look at that, though. Look at the spin. The sandwich spin. Yeah. That goes hard. It's all stretched out. There it is. Ah, jamming out. Bop, 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 bop. Okay. All that said, we still don't really know how to move bones IK-like. bone. Inverse kin. So this is giving us options for each individual bone. Relations. Parented to other bones. What happens if I hit relative parenting? What does that mean? Nothing for the context of what we're working on here. Alright, what if we... Oh. Shroop, shroop. If we lock... certain axes, that's not doing anything for me. Deform. Uncheck deform, that's not doing anything for me. But we can't apply modifiers straight to the armature, it doesn't look like. Bone constraints, add a bone constraint. Solvers, pivots, no object or not exclusively in pose mode. Do we gotta be in pose mode? Pose mode. Object solvers, motion tracking, stretch to, track to, pivots, actions. I don't know what any of this means. Alright. We're gonna take a couple minutes. We gotta run ads. We've already delayed it, unfortunately. But when we return, we're gonna continue to mess around in Blender, make some changes. Maybe we'll work on Jammy's little backpack thrusters. Since we don't know really what we're doing with the bones right now, maybe we'll continue doing some modeling. The Vector Spaceman show will continue right after this. Let's help Jeff Bezos get his money, and we'll be back in a couple minutes, you guys. Don't go nowhere. The Vector Spaceman show continues right after this. And in the meantime, let's head back to the station. Wow, here we are. And we can cool out for a couple minutes. Again, I feel like I'm going to get most of my work done on these models off stream, but it is fun to share. Let you guys know what's going on. Show off what we can do. Maybe learn a thing or two. Maybe we'll follow a little tutorial on bones. In the meantime, I hope everybody's having a swell day. A fine Tuesday. I really want to push to get this model 3D print ready, because I really haven't done a whole lot of printing with that resin printer since the first couple of calibration tests that we did. Which is a shame, because it was an expensive piece of hardware. We should want to, use it more often, more regularly. All right, 1 minute of ads left, and then we're back. But if we can get Jammy rigged up and looking good, then we should be able to do characters that have like arms and stuff and like hair. once we get the basics down, you know? And at that point, we'll be unstoppable. Jammy's really easy because, you know, no arms, no legs, just a couple of jam antennas. Or sorry, not jam antennas, but jam globules, a little jam tail at the bottom, and then the antenna, which I think will bounce around a bit. That's really all that's going on. And we love that from Jammy. It's a very, very good character. Alright, looks like we're back. Super duper. We're gonna head on back to the screen. Wow, here we are. We're still working on the Jammy. So here's something that we do know how to do. How are we going to ensure that the earpiece, which is on either side of the model, this isn't mirrored, but it will be mirrored eventually, fits nice and snug and contour to the shape of Jammy's helmet. Because we don't want to just do like a Boolean operator. But there is actually something cool that we can do. So here's what I'm thinking. We've got it basically in position of where we want. Let's see if this works. We need to add a lattice. And scale that up. There we go. Lattice, lattice, lattice. You're not going to be part of the features. You're actually going to be part of the suit. And we need to change you to be flat, nice and flat. And move you over here. Give you some nice definition. There we go. Rotate you like so, scale you like so. We'll see if this works. If it helps, you can use M in the viewport to change the collection of a selected object. Use M in the viewport. Move to, hey, look at that. See, we're learning keystrokes and keybinds and what have you. We're still new at Blender, relatively speaking. All right, so we want to put that up around here, ish. And the idea is that we want to parent the earphone to the lattice, and then we want to shrink wrap the lattice onto the helmet, which will then deform, ideally, deform the shape of the earpiece right onto the helmet. Let's just make sure that that works. So if we parent these two together, and then go into edit mode and start moving these around. That's not moving because we also need to assign the earpiece a lattice modifier. That's right. And select the lattice. And now if we go into edit mode of the lattice and we move it around, yeah, now it tracks. Swell. And it deforms nice and wobbly and what have you. Yep, just passing on some knowledge so you don't have to click and drag as much, and the outliner drove me nuts at the beginning. And we appreciate that, Rig. We appreciate every bit of wisdom and knowledge and experience that we can glean from our talented, roster of friends. Because I ain't trying to do things the old-fashioned way. I'm trying to do things quick and efficient and fierce. Okay, So now that all follows the path of the lattice itself. So if we select the lattice and we apply a shrink wrap modifier to it, and say, hey, snap to this here, it snaps to the shape of the helmet, but it deforms in a weird way. And that's because the lattice is actually like pulling in. It's like pulling everything into it. So it's deforming everything around it. And that's not necessarily what we want. And don't think that I didn't just notice Slimy coming up in here, getting their Space Ace certification. Spaced man. We are such a spaced man today. I feel spaced. You guys feeling spaced? It's a Tuesday kind of feeling. Welcome to the show, Slimy. How's our favorite McDoubo? We're working on friend of the show, GalaxyJamwich. Does that not look like a GalaxyJamwich to you? Is that not the jammy that we all love and recognize just by shape alone? Jammy's got such a pleasing silhouette, so identifiable. Unmistakably jammy. You're so spaced right now. I feel that. Feeling spaced up on a Tuesday. That looks exactly like the GalaxyJamwich, except no substitutes. So anyways, we just did a lattice deform on the lattice deform into a shrink wrap onto the earpiece. And what we will note is that that turns the underlying model into a really close, smooth approximation of the shape of the helmet. So those two pieces would fit together real nice, except, like we said, it's pulling everything towards it in a way that we might not necessarily love. So we're gonna alter the snap mode here. We want, or the wrap method, we want to actually project our lattice in a particular axis. In this case, it is the y-axis. Oh, geez. Or was it the x-axis? Bam. X. Yeah, x-axis, I guess. Bam, bam, bam. But it's still all funked up like this, and we don't want that. But you know what's cool about Blender is that you don't have to apply a modifier to the whole object. And so that's what we're going to show off now. We are going to select our earpiece. We are going to go into edit mode, and I just want to select these vertices right here. And we are going to create a vertex group. We're going to call it contact group, because I like to name things so that I recognize what they are. I don't like to have a bajillion things called group. And we're going to assign weights to those particular vertices. Vertex groups, right, Reg? Vertex groups are cool. They're cool and they're for cool people. So now that we have this vertex group, we can go back into object mode. And we can say, hey, you know that lattice modifier that you had applied to the whole thing, and now it's warping the whole thing? Well, how about instead of warping everything, you just warped the particular vertex group within the object, the one called contact group. And if we hit that, then bam! Now it's just those vertices that get pulled into the shape of the helmet. And it still looks a little funky, and I believe that this is due to the limitations of the lattice. So let's select our lattice. Let's give this more, yeah, bump this up like 12 by 12. Now it's got more points of deformation. Heck, let's go 16 by 16. So it's getting more finesse, but we're also running into the problem, which is that the underlying model itself isn't actually that high poly. You can see the wireframe of it. Like, it only looks nice and smooth because we, no cube 74, cylinder 34 here. No, we like to name our stuff. But you can see, because we keep it all pretty low res until we need to, you know, apply something. That is why it's funking things up, because it's really only pulling like, I think that's like 16 vertices or something like that. But follow me here, and we're going to undo this immediately because we don't want it to be permanent. Let's say we apply our subdividers. And then we're going to have to redo the vertex group. So we're going to go back into edit mode. Now these are all the... Now you can see we've got way more resolution here, right? How can I select the center? Which one's the center? Gah! Alright, for the sake of... I don't want to do that. Screw it, we ball. Alright, we're just going to apply the weight to all of those. Back in object mode, and now... Oh, look how smooth that is, right? What a nice, smooth contact we have across the whole of the object. And you can see something has clearly happened here, which is pulled it. And anyways, basically when we go to do the final model, we would apply those subdividers before we commit to flashing the thing up against the side of the helmet. But there's a method there. There's a nice method for getting a nice smooth curvature. Yeah, it pulled it to the inside faces because the helmet here actually has a solidify modifier on it. So I think that's what it's actually pulling it to. Yeah, you can see that's what it's actually being pulled to. Turn the solidifier back on, that's the outside part. So again, if we were doing it for the final model, then we're going to commit our subdividers, we're going to commit our solidifiers, then we're going to flash the vertices off of this earpiece onto the side of the helmet, at which point we would have a nice smooth contact. But the underlying procedure is there. We've figured that out. Okay, so that's good. So we're gonna save. Bam, save. Because that is progress. Now I think if we were a wiser spaceman, we probably would have, let's see, the rotation. This piece is rotated -8 degrees. If we set that to 0, it goes back to the way it is natural. But if I go into edit mode, and maybe you can help me here, Rig. If I go into edit mode, it's letting me edit it at that rotation. But what if I would like to edit it from its natural rotation or non-rotation state, because that makes things a lot easier to edit, I find. And then when we go back to object, it goes back to the angle that we've set it at. Is there any way that we can do that? Is that like a transform modifier or something? Is that a thing? Transform, data transfer, rotate, or no, hair curves, I don't think that's it. Like basically I want to make changes to an underlying part while keeping it in its position. Like I want to edit a piece from its base state without having to mess around with where it's placed in the layout mode. You can duplicate it as an instance and rotate the instance back to 90, so then when I edit the instance, it would edit the original one. Is that really like the easiest way to do it? Like, you get what I mean, right? Like sometimes you'll have parts in the layout. Like maybe you've got like a sword or something and it's in your character's hand and it's all, you know, positioned in an odd angle or something like that. It's outstretched or something, but you want to make an edit to that sword. Can you not edit a piece, a part, an element? In an easy way after it's been moved, rotated, positioned? Like it seems like something where you double click on it and then it would open up, like when we go into edit mode. Like I would expect everything to go back to like a, whoops, to like a negative, like back to like this. And then I'd be able to edit it naturally. And then when I go back to object mode, it would go back to the position that it's been edited to be in. You get what I mean? You get what I mean? Maybe that is the easiest way to do it, is the duplicate. But that seems like it would be a feature that people would appreciate, that people would enjoy, that would make people's lives easier. Because there's so many times, like, for example, this little antenna piece, which is on an angle. There was a time where I wanted to mess with the top here, make it a little smoother. So I had to go into edit mode, but because it was on an angle, I couldn't just, you know, grab it and raise it up on the z-axis, because now the z-axis is not relative to the antenna. So I had to go back into object mode, rotate this piece, the whole thing, back to 0, then edit it, then put it back. I get it, but all I know is the instance duplication or editing it with the pivot orientation set to local. Edit it with the pivot orientation set to local. Because right now your orientation is global. Local and global. Where do you even see that? Global. Transform orientations. Ah. Local. 0, 0. Ah. So if I hit this at being... Ah. Oh, wait, no. That wasn't right. Top, middle of the viewport, or pressing... Ah. Local, normal, parent, global. 3D cursor. I don't think that's it. Okay, so we can change global. Align the transformation axes to world space. And that tells us yes. Yes. That tells us is this is rotated -8 degrees, -90 degrees, globally. But if I go locally, that is still the same. But if we go into edit mode, we can edit global, we can edit local. This vertex here has a global position of this. It has a local position of that. Okay. And I get that because when we build a piece and then move it off to the side or something like that, that changes. It'll stay locally fixed at 0. But globally, it's been moved out of the way. But then how does that... How does it work in object mode? Because the global and local information stays the same here. Yeah. Changing it to local will change the angle of your gizmo so you can work off of the object's pivot. Oh, is that right? So this is global pivot. Global pivot is working off of the object's global pivot. But if I go to local, it is still doing the same. Yeah, it's just in the layout mode I don't see any difference. In the edit mode, I get that. That makes sense. But then, yeah, I would just love the ability to edit something locally and then have its rotations and what have you follow along in global space. I will see if there's a good way to make that work, because that would definitely help our process, I think. Okay, at any rate, we've gotten auto-weighted bones. We've got the lattice projection that's going to help us shape the earpieces to the contours of the helmet once it's finished. I don't think that we're going to work on splitting the model today. When we get around to splitting it into pieces, like down this axis here, we probably will just do like a Boolean differential, and then hollow it out, create a cavity with those push fit pins, or if not push fit, then it's going to be something like slots so that we can use an adhesive or something to fit the pieces together. Ideally, I'd love a push fit, because then you could keep your jammy with a helmet on, or you could have your jammy with a helmet off. Options, you know what I mean? Let's see if we can't do a little modeling here. Yes! Oh my goodness gracious! Yes! I just discovered this, and I didn't even need people's help, Rig. I figured it out all on my own, just now. I was thinking to myself, man, I really wish there was an easy way to get a look at the back side, because you hit 1, you get to look at the front. You hit 3, you get to look at the one side. But then just intuitively, I thought, well, what's going to happen if I press Control 1? Bam! The opposite of 1. What happens if I hit Control 3? Bam! The opposite of 3. That's so helpful. I just figured that out. Just by experimenting. The things you figure out on stream just by experimenting. Alright, so I'm thinking backside. It's barren, there's nothing going on. Like on the front side, you got the voice box, you got the little, like, jam headlights. I don't know what they're supposed to be. Those little, pink bits, that are there. It's not jam. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. Bumpers, maybe? Whatever it is, we've included them. But on the backside, kind of got carte blanche. We got Kate Blanchett, as it were, to get creative. And I was thinking about little thrusters, about little exhausts, about little boop, 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 boops, like to explain why Jammy is floating all the time. So what would be a good design for that? We could do like a central pack with a couple of little beep, 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 beeps coming off the side or something like that. I think something like that would probably be good. We just got to shape it around the back side of the helmet. So we don't want to interfere with that. Or do we let it extend down underneath here? Maybe. Let's start playing with some shapes. Let's see. Applying this to the suit. Let's make a sphere. Just a really low-res sphere. Start scaling and messing around with. When in doubt, block it out. That's right. Let's block some of this out. So do we want to do like a... You know, we could even have it connect up along the glass a little bit. Is there any way to draw along surfaces? Because I like doing the little annotations, but they're always like flat to a plane where the camera's looking at. Is that what the grease pencil tool is for? I haven't been using that at all. But let's say get something like that. And then we would, again, cut out the shape here to match sort of the backside. And then let's go into edit mode here. Let's just grab a couple of vertices and we're gonna drag it out a little bit. We're gonna need more than that. We're gonna need a bigger selection. Oh shoot, I'm grabbing back faces, aren't I? Some kind of little jammy backpack or something. Not sure you hardly ever use grease pencil? Well, that's even more than I use it. But it sounds fun. It sounds super cool. All right, sandwich power pack. Just flatten that bad boy out. Oh shoot, how do I... There we go. Just realized I was accidentally leaving annotations. Alright, little backpack, and then let's do a couple of cylinders. Oh, actually, let's go into edit mode and add those cylinders. Oh shoot. Oh shoot. Still had... hit L, right? Yeah, there we go. Had the weighted mode selected still. Okay. Scale, scale, scale. Scale along certain axes. Why did you do that? What is going on here? Oh, because it's based on where you're looking, Spaceman. Sheesh. All right, well, hold on. Why is it rotating? Because I'm doing it locally. Because I was doing it locally, Rig. Alright, we would want to... easiest thing is just going to be... grab this loop. Give it a little bevel. Boop. And... give it another one. What am I doing? I'm pressing the wrong buttons. There we go. Now we'll scale this in. We're going to make a nice little top. Nice little rounded top. For a little thruster. Which is going to have to be connected somehow, the little power pack. Kind of like that. Something like that. And then let's grab some vertices here. Whoops, whoops, there we go. Just blocking it all out. Let's go back to object mode. We're gonna mirror that. There we go. Back into edit mode. Let's smooth it. Can I not smooth it? Ooh, that kind of messed things up, didn't it? There we go. Okay, so one option is to have just like a little power pack for Jammy with some boop boop boops coming off the back. I don't think that's terrible. We're kind of left with a bunch of empty space here though still. I'm thinking maybe we bring these thrusters closer to the sides maybe, connect them to the actual suit itself, but we still don't want it to be touching the glass then in that case. So it'd end up being something like that. And then it's below the glass. And we'd probably have something connecting this space here. And then we've got a reason why Jammy floats. Because she's got little boop 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 boops going on at the back of the model. I don't know, I think that kind of works. Like, I didn't expect it to be something that you'd see from the front, but it's just a little extra detail at the back, right? that sort of explains what's going on. And then maybe we could put a little logo on the backpack or something like that. One of Jammy's little logos or something. But then it still begs the question, what do we do about like these corners here? The front looks good. It's got the little jam lights. It's got the voice box. What could we do here at the back? Maybe like little vents or something? I don't know. Because I don't want the pack and the thrusters to take up all the space. I just want them to sort of fill in the empty space. I don't know. What do you guys think? What would look good on these corners here? Stickers. A lunchbox. Jammy's little utility belt. So many options, no doubt. I actually like how this is looking. I am not hating how that is looking. Conceptually, I mean, it needs work, but just in terms of a silhouette, that's pretty good for the backside of Jammy's suit. Just need to figure out what's going on along the sides here. Maybe it would just be little detailing or something, like a little channel, little groove, something like that. Little safety harness. Gotta remember though that this will get split down the middle, so gotta keep that in mind too. Gotta keep that in mind, Spaceman. Alright, while I think about that, we gotta run another ad. It's that time again. So we'll be back in a couple minutes. Let's head back on out to the station. 2-minute warning. The Spaceman show continues right after this. You guys take care. We'll be right. A little hose. Good idea. We'll consult more when we get back from ads. A little hose. That is not a bad idea. I think I know exactly what rig means. Sometimes you just need a little hose, you know? Phone call? Take care of your phone call, Rig. In the meantime, it is time that we take a look at which ones of our friends, of our good streamer friends, is streaming tonight, because you know we want to end of the show on a good note. We're going a couple hours now. We won't be long for this world. Wow, a lot of people streaming tonight. Okay, we got good options. We're going to be in good company. See if Jammy was streaming. That would have been the perfect thing to raid into. But unfortunately, Jammy don't stream no more. He just shows up in skits and specials. Like an urban legend. Like a creature of myth. Alright, 30 seconds and we're back. I'm gonna take a gratuitous little stretch. I recommend you all do the same. You gotta stay limber. Especially when you're hunched over staring at your Jamwich. Staring at whatever you're working on. Looks like we're back. All right, let's address... Oh my goodness. What is going on? It's the guest nest. It's messing us up. There we go. Okay. That was weird. All that Fujitech stuff started wigging out on us. All right, check this. We're going back to the screen. Rig had again with the Fuji stuff. Is somebody trying to raid in here? Guest Nest, you are offline. So Rig had the bright idea. Check out the big brain on Rig over here. To do some kind of little hose or something like that. And what I think Rig means, correct me if I'm wrong, is some kind of like inset little detailing like this. Is that what you meant? Or, and this is another option, did you mean something like an actual port and like a hose connecting to the backpack or something like that? Because that could work as well. I'd just worry about it getting in the way of the little exhaust things. Just remember, one of the options that we're going to have for basing on this model, we're going to be able to do either extend out the jam into a little, jam blobule or whatever that works as the base, or if we stick with the idea of these thrusters, then we're going to be able to do like as a method for basing. Like little clouds of exhaust. And I think that works better. And then we would still have the little jam trail going like pew and what have you in the general shape of however Jammy's facing, which I think is probably going to be like up and to the side and smiley and having a great time. Like a jammy do. Up and to the right. That's a good direction for, conveying enthusiasm and progress and, just good jam energy. So with that in mind, we're going to try not to obstruct the thrusters. But that's why I think Rig might have had the right idea by suggesting like little rigid, like hosey type things going on here. Just little detailing, And so if we wanted to do something like that, let's just rough out how that might look. We won't make this part of anything else. We'll just make this part of the suit. Let's add a... Oh, can we add a curve? Can we add a torus? Can we add... If I put torus, yeah, we can make a torus. Yeah, we can make a torus. I can make it like that. We might actually need more definition here. Let's see how this goes. We're gonna scale her down. We're gonna move you into position. We want to have it like jutting out the side here, so we're gonna scale ever so slightly. We're going to have to be conscious that we're going to split it down the center here, so we probably want to keep it away from right down the center. which means you'd probably end up with something like that. That doesn't look so bad. Now let's just edit this. We're gonna grab all of these loops and we're gonna that's not quite what we wanted. Can we grab every second loop and how do we... No. No. How do we continue in a sequence of selection? I forget how to do that. If I just control plus, it just grabs what's surrounding, and that includes these loops. Can we select by... Maybe it's under loop tools. Is there selection? No. We grab one loop and then loop tools. No. I'm sure there's a way to do this. Unfortunately, I don't know it off the top of my head, so I'm just going to grab the relevant loops that are nearby and thus are going to affect the look of this. There we go. And we're just going to bevel these out a bit. That should be fine. And then we're going to scale. But if we... No. We want to grab just the vertices. Man, this is going to be annoying. Okay, because we've got everything selected, and we don't want everything selected. Because if we... Oh, that's why. Yeah. No, now I'm getting it. Okay. Instead of doing all that, what if we just grabbed every second... Silly Spaceman. What if we just grabbed every second loop and scaled those in? Ever so slightly. And then when we pop out of there and we go to subdivide, we'll have kind of a little bumpy hose. Why can I not delete? What happened to my annotation? Are we still in? Undo. There we go. Jeez. Okay, so we got a rough shape for a little bumpy hose. That doesn't look very good at all, because we did not give it enough definition. But that's kind of where I'd put it, is the idea. I'd probably have like a little ring, little gaskets or something on either side. And that kind of fills up some space at the back here. If we were really enterprising, we might even have it jut out so that you can see the ring, like the inner part. That would make the printing a little more difficult. But it would be more visually interesting. For certain. Do something like that. Maybe hang down a bit. Kind of at an angle like that, something maybe. And then that doesn't interfere with the side, it doesn't interfere with the jetpack piece, or what will become the jetpack piece. I kind of like that. It's just a matter of how do we print it. Because resin printers abhor a cavity or any floating area, which means we would probably have to put either supports right underneath or connecting from here to here or something. We could probably make that work. I don't know, I kind of like that. What do you guys think? As far as suggestions for what should be on the back of Jammy's suit goes, that's a pretty good one. It makes it look a little more cluttered, a little more messy than the front. Jammy's front is very clean. It's all smooth. It's very cartoony. It's very cute. When we get to the back side, it's much more... I think the hose especially. The hose dangling out really interferes with it, I guess. So if we went back to having it more flush, not sticking out. That might be the best. Easier to print and visually more consistent with the rest of the model. Everything on Jammy is very smooth. So maybe it's just the rigidiness of it that's throwing me off. I'll give it some thought. I'll give it some thought as we continue this model. But anyways, guys, this was a fun stream tonight, getting to introduce you to 3D GalaxyJamwich. The eventual star, no doubt, of many Spaceman animated features. Little games, perhaps. 3D resin prints that maybe you can pick one up of your own someday. Or print one of your own someday. That's kind of the dream. Again, I don't get much work on these done when I'm streaming because I'm more conscious of staying engaged and talking things out and what have you. So we didn't get a whole lot of work done tonight, but we laid the groundwork for a lot of important things. The posing. You know? The jam. Rotation. The earpiece and the contours of the helmet. Blocking out what we want to put on the back side of the model, since something needs to go there. And we've been talking about how we're going to split up this model into different pieces for the eventual 3D print, which is an important process to think ahead on. Thanks for being here tonight, guys, and thanks for helping me, talk out some of these ideas. When I get Jammy in a good place, then I'm probably going to start working on some... Back from dinner, what did I miss? Pretty much the whole stream, Alpine. We were just getting ready to close things out. But here, let me give you the rundown. All right. So, also appreciate that you're here. First of all, appreciate that Alpine is here. We always do. So we've never done any rigging in Blender before. I was saying I'm very pleased with the automatic weighting that we get in the in Blender, like that looks great. To have Jammy just flop around and what have you, that looks great, even without us having to do any manual weighting for these bones, which we will have to do eventually. Because I'm going to want to have individual bones for some of the different like jam globules and what have you, like the big parts, this one down here especially, so that it sort of jiggles around as the character moves. The suit itself is not going to move a whole lot. But we were blocking out some ideas for what to put on the back side. Like, we've never seen Jammy from the back, and it was looking kind of barren. So we were adding, like, okay, what if we add, like, a little pack of some sort with some little thrusters, and maybe that explains why Jammy's always floating in the skits and specials, right? Because Jammy's the only character that still floats. Spaceman used to, but now Spaceman walks on the ground like everybody else. Jammy still floats around because she's such a small character. We want to make sure that she's at eye height with everybody. But we thought if we had like some sort of like little, like boop 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 boop, boop like Jetson style power pack or something. And they were thinking, okay, what do we put on these corners at the back here? Because it's looking a little bare. So without maybe a little hose or something like that, something to sort of break up the nakedness of it. So we were just toying around, blocking out some ideas with that. Alpine, you do a whole lot of rigging and what have you with models that are made up of basically, you know, tons of little clay parts, which is very, very cool. We were trying to figure out, like, I can, when I set up this little bone snaky spine here, like I can rotate any of these real easily in the pose mode, but if I try to like move them around, like actually just drag and move, it always defaults to rotation. So do you know how to set up like an inverse kinematic thing so that I can like click and drag it and the spine will basically follow the shape of where I'm moving the bone to? I've not been able to figure that out. I'll probably have to either, if it's something that can be explained real quick, then I'll take it, but otherwise we'll probably have to go watch a tutorial or something like that. It'll be to our benefit anyways, to make sure that we know how to do that sort of thing. That should be on the modifiers. I forget where. So, is it a modifier for the armature itself then? Armature can't take modifiers. Can bones take modifiers? Or is it a constraint, a bone constraint of the armature? Something you select, oh, in pose mode. Okay, so if we grab one of these bones, I'm thinking modifiers like modifiers that you apply to objects, but do you mean like selections, motion paths? Probably can't see because my head's in the way. Give you 1 sec. We're getting some technical support from Alpine Showtime. Collections, data, bone, bendy bones, segments, bone constraint, the one all the way at the bottom. Bone constraints. So we add a bone constraint. I got you. Tracking, inverse kinematics, perhaps. Target, pull target. Use tail, stretch. Oh, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. So let's say if we selected all of our bones and added IKs to all of them, and then we started, okay, it only let me select one at a time, that's fine, but let's say that we do that. And then, whoop, whoop, okay, so now we can select, can we select it by the root? No, we're still selecting it by the bone. Set the target to the armature. We'll set the bone to be the bone. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, that's messing us up a little bit. No need to the IK for all the bones, just the second last one. Just the second last one. All right, let's Control Z our way out of this conundrum that we found ourselves in. All right. IK. Our target is, as Alpine says, the armature. The bone. Oh, target should be the top bone. Target should be the top bone. Or maybe the bone should be the top bone. Alright, that's still letting us just rotate. Pull target. What does that mean? If we drop influence, makes it a little smoother, but not quite what we're going for. I'm talking about how, like this is what I want to get to, right? Know what I mean? This is edit mode, where we're editing the position and size of the bones. How do we affect that? Also, I personally like to detach the top bone with clear parent. So you detach the top bone. Boy, where are you? Parent. Doesn't actually have a parent at the moment, so I guess we're already there. Alt-P. Alt-P? That's telling me to propagate. Your keystrokes might be different from my keystrokes. Or, no, my keyboard is in English, in edit mode. Gotcha. Clear the parent. Okay. Alright, well now we can't move anything. This is the exact opposite of what we want. We can still rotate, so now we're rotating freely. Oh, in pose mode, when you move the top bone, it should IK. So if we're moving the top bone, okay, so top bone is moving freely, and it's rotating freely. And if we move this one down here, it is no longer moving the top bone. Okay. So we've lost some of the connection there. But we removed the armature in the bone constraint, yes. So the bone constraint should be the armature? Is that what you're saying? Or the bone constraint should be the bone? Whoa, whoa, whoa! That's still moving freely. That is still messing itself up. Change bone to bone 3. Let's change it to a different bone. See what that looks like. Well, that doesn't work. Just bone. Whoa! Bone 3. Whoa! Bone 1. Whoa! We don't touch the yellow bone to move. We don't touch the yellow bone. But what if I want to move the yellow bone? And now this one doesn't move freely because we don't want the bone there. We want this to be able to move on its own. We've succeeded in that. But what if I want to rotate this bone by this one? I'm not sure that we wanted it to go so free. I think we wanted to keep a connection. We wanted to be able to stretch, which we can do through scaling, and we can stretch in certain directions. But I think we were looking for a more free-form way of doing that, if that even exists. And so, presumably, we would have to do the same thing for each sub-bone. Give me we're recording a GIF, okay. See, isn't this lovely when we have such technical wizardry at our fingertips? Friend of the show, Alpine Showtime, you guys. This is a good learning experience for all of us. Presumably this is gonna wind up in my... There it is. All right, you guys want to watch a GIF? A GIF even? Let's watch this together. But I gotta figure out a way to do that that's not going to dox ourselves. Okay. Check it out, check it out, check it out, Joel! Okay, now that should be on screen. And now you guys should be able to see it too. Let's look at this. MP4 actually, but this is what I mean by top bone. The top bone's connected to the sub bone. Oh, look at it, it's snaking around. How'd you do that? That's the important question, is how did you do that? All right, Alpine's moving too fast. All right, so armature. We've selected the top bone. Sub bone. Target, armature, bone, bone 3. What is bone 3? Bone 3 is bone 1, bone 2, bone 3. So bone 3 is the top bone. And then we grab the top bone, and then we can snake him around. Presumably. And then the video repeats. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Bone, armature, bone, top bone. Then we grab the top bone. Oh, we got a little snake jammy. All right, but can we... All right, we can't do... So we can snake it around. Woo, and even extend beyond the limits. We can go beyond the limits. But we cannot, but we're limited to just that one connection. I recommend making a fourth bone that's above the head and making that the top bone. Okay. Let me ask, do you get what I'm kind of going for though, when I talk about, like if we go into edit mode, where it lets us freely edit the size and shape and what have you of these. Like where I could grab any of them and it would scale out to, you know, make that work. Is that something that you can even do? Like, can you get that level of free rotation and movement on one of these? Inverse kinematically? Want something stretchy? There's another method? Yeah, maybe that's what I'm going for, because Jammy's a cartoon. Jammy, the rotation and the IK as it stands right now, pretty rad. But the fact that I can no longer rotate these individually, I'm now confined by the IK. That might be limiting, I don't know. There's another method though. I'm being promised that there is another method. Alpine, we're gonna have to blender jam at some point, so I can try to better convey what I'm thinking of here. There's another method called stretch to, but I don't know how to do it for 4 bones. Okay. That would be under, yeah, like look at all these options we have here. We got the IK, which is great. We've got stretch to. Add a constraint to the active bone, stretch to along the y-axis to point toward a target. So it'll stretch out to meet it. So it may not be something that comes right out of the box, but I'll bet you it's something that Blender can accommodate, which is super duper. And thank you for showing us how that's done, Alpine. You know we appreciate it. Okay, guys. That, unfortunately, is all the time we have for tonight. We've been going for 2.5 hours now, so we gotta call it quits. I wish we could stream all night, but you know. We're going to continue to do more jammy work in the off-stream hours, of course. I started this a couple days ago. I'm happy with how cute it's looking. Jammy, I know you're going to be watching the VOD later, so I hope you enjoyed getting a look at your little model. I think it's pretty cool. It's teaching me a lot about how to use Blender, so that's great. That's an important part of the process. And once we get a good jammy done, then we'll probably try doing, you know, one of our more ambulatory friends. So a character who has arms and legs and hair and stuff like that. And then once we feel comfortable doing like whole bipeds, then, you know, eventually we'll get to the real 3D Spaceman that we've been promising that we'd do for a couple years now. We'll finally get around to it. This year, for real, for sure this time. And we'll probably continue to do Blender streams next week, week after, that sort of thing. I'm enjoying these. It's fun to get to show them off. It's fun to learn a little on stream as well. And I want to thank all of you guys who tuned in tonight because you're cool peeps. And, you know, it's great having you here. And I'm learning a lot. And I thank you for that. Big shout outs, of course, to Alpine Showtime. If you're not tuned in to the imaginary world of Alpine Showtime, then what are you doing? It's a whole show. It's a whole world. Alpine's doing great things. They're getting lots of traction on the YouTube and the TikTok and what have you, so go check them out. Big Rig, Regal Mikado, of course, thank you again for lending us some of your Blender wisdom tonight. We appreciate you as well. And guys, remember, make sure you are following the Nova Swarm, because this weekend, Nova Swarm _VT3, it didn't even put it in the chat. Shout out. Nova Swarm _VT3. It was caps locked. Son of a gun. Third time's a charm. Shout out. Rig is going to be showing off his brand new model for the brand new fantasy theming of the Nova Swarm, after which, you know, presumably, we're going to get Ellie and Lyra's new models at some point as well. Have a great night yourself, Vector. Thank you, Alpine. We'll catch you around again real soon. Yeah, this Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, i.e. 9 p.m. real time, Eastern time. Tune in, see Rig's new model, new live 2D model, new setup, new lore, new everything. It's going to be great. It's going to be grand. That's where I'm going to be. And then this Saturday, we might just get another karaoke stream here on the Spaceman Show. If and we've got time. It's looking like we might have time for it. I can't say 100% sure, promise, that sort of thing, but I'm rooting for it. I had fun doing it last week. I'm sure I'd love to do it again this week. And of course, we'll be back again Tuesday next week for your regularly scheduled programming, you guys. But as for right now, that's the show, you guys. So I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight, wherever and whenever you are. You can join us again next week, as I said, same time, same place, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here at Harbor Station. We'll catch you on the other side, Space Cadets. Until then, of course, no matter what life throws your way, good luck and Godspeed. This is Vector Spaceman signing off. Now stick around for that raid. We're about to send you off for some more great content for your evening. We're going to go say hi to friend of the show, good old-fashioned skit and special co-star, Pomato Master. Tom's doing fun stuff. Tom is doing it, just chatting right now, but I'm sure she's going to get into games as well. Should be a fun time. Be on your best behavior. Say nice things. Thanks again for Manayu, who came in with the raid. Thanks for everybody who was here. We'll catch you all next time, you guys. Until then, so long. Bye-bye.